Am I your favorite yet?
Is Zara here?
No, she didn't come on. So surely
then you're my favorite.
Yeah, I get some points for that, right?
Let's talk about this World Champs. Feel like I've been on this journey with you for a bit now. Seeing you guys in person in Chicago last year and watching you from afar over the results in the Instagram world. So let's back up a little bit. Let's see. Your last race before this was Cologne.
Yep.
Let's see. You finished. How did you finish in Cologne?
Third. I was the wall ball incident.
Oh my God. Zara, Yana, you.
Yeah.
So
I had to go back.
What's that?
I had the wall ball incident and I had to go back.
So did they change the rule because of that?
What do you mean the rule?
Well, whatever the rule we dealt with here at Nice.
No, like I think the rule, there's no rule that you can't cross the line and come back if they think that it was either a no rep or you haven't done 100 reps. There was some confusion at Cologne where he said do one more, I did one more, maybe he meant two. We still don't really know what happened.
Right,
anyway,
but we just saw the World Champs where the penalty is 3 seconds.
But then I don't know if they then just took their. So I've got a time penalty on it anyway. So they changed my time after the race.
What was the penalty?
My original time was 1:03:54, and then it went to 1:04:04.
1:04:02.
Oh yeah, something like that. But yeah, it was 1:04:54. So they changed my time. But I don't know if then they changed the rule. We had slightly different rules for the elite race at the World
that's why
Champs.
I'm asking if it was changed. So I don't want to rehash what happened in Nice, but I will say that I am very clear on my stance that it's one or the other. It's a penalty with a time, or they have to come back and complete it. And I think the time penalty makes sense because we don't want judges running into the finish line. It causes confusion amongst other racers. It gets in the way of other racers. They could come back and get the wrong person, as they did in Nice. So it should just be a time penalty. You either get the final rep or you don't, and then the judge goes, sorry, she didn't get the last rep. So the part that needs to be clarified is what your job is, the racer, especially with these electronic counters. How do I know when I'm done? And if it's the judge saying go, then that's the rule.
Yeah. So I'm not 100% clear on what the official rule is, if I'm honest.
Right. And nobody is. So that I'm guessing when they do their announcements for here's the majors, here's the Elite 15 next year, here's a couple of rule changes. I'm guessing there's going to be a nice video and some information. We're all very curious to see if these auto qualifiers are the same as they were last year, because basically on the men's side, like half the field would already be gone if they do what they did last year for the Elite 15.
Like with the time.
With what has you auto qualify for the majors, right? Winning the world championship, that sounds like a pretty good reason, right? But all the other ones, I think they're up to 7 or 8 men, which would be half the field. So it's very few spots. So curious how they're going to do that.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see where the majors are, how it's going to be regulated this year is it going to be specific tracks? Because some tracks are quicker than other tracks and there's all that.
No, they are definitely not going to address that. I don't think that's what you and I would like.
Whether there's certain tracks that you can qualify on. Like where you're
like these are
where you're going just head like they did at Cologne, where you're head to head. Technically, it doesn't really matter what your time is. You are on a track and you are racing whoever wants to qualify to go to. So that was for the World Champs. It doesn't matter about your time. You're all on the track. You're all in the same conditions, and you're all racing head to head the top however many get their spot. Whether they do it like that and they have like a few in America and they have a couple in Europe, I don't know.
I think the majors is okay. I like the majors and then 2 last chance qualifiers. But I'm not sure I like, we still find if there's these these exceptions that are considerably faster, like was it the Nuremberg airport? What's the airport one?
Is that Berlin?
Yes, I think. Anyway, so maybe if only certain races counted towards the majors, and then those but again, I don't think they don't like to really acknowledge that. They just like to say they're all the same, the best we can. But again, it's the pre-qualified. I think very few people should be pre-qualified. If you win the World Champs, sure, but why have an Elite 15 if you're going to already fill the spots, right? Why don't have an Elite 20 and the first 5 or the top 5 from the World Champs or whatever? But if
6,
what's that?
The top 6
or the top 6.
That's better,
right? But you know, you've had a great season, and I mean, I guess with how you did at Worlds, personally, doubles, team, would you say that your Worlds could not have gotten any better? I mean, could you ask for much more?
If you'd have told me this time last week, you're going to finish 6th in Elite 15, regardless of the rest of the weekend, I would have snapped your hand off. I would have, yeah. And then when you look back at your race, and I had obviously moments where I think I had a good quarter of my race, I was in the top 3. So from the row all the way through to literally the back end of the lunges, I was in the top 3, top 4. I don't know who was more shocked when I sat on the rower, me or Meg, next to her. There's a great photo where we're both looking a little bit confused. And I was waiting for someone to tap me on the shoulder and say I'd missed a lap.
You're in the wrong place.
I'm surprised myself. And even my family who'd come to see me said, you looked really shocked when you were on the rower. I checked my watch because I was thinking, did I miss the lap? Because I wasn't aware. When I came out the burpees, I thought I was maybe 4th or something. And I knew on my run I hadn't overtaken anyone. Obviously, I'd come out of the burpees 2nd and then had run, so I hadn't overtaken anyone. So I was still 2nd. But in my head, I'd come out 4th or something, hadn't overtaken anyone. So when I came into the row and no one else was on the rower apart from Meg, I thought, I've messed up. And I knew it was an instant DQ if you missed a lap. So it wasn't a time penalty. It was.
They told you that in the briefing?
Yeah, instant DQ if you miss a lap. So there's no time penalty. And there was a few other things that they were going to DQ us on.
Interesting. Did they explain the logic behind that? I'm not sure I understand that one, because that's a pretty common thing and there's a fix for it.
No, they just said you're obviously at an elite level. You should be able to count laps now. And I guess it's just toughening up the rules a little bit, making everyone a bit sharper. Who knows? So I then came in. As I come in, I'm checking my watch, and I know that my watch is telling me that, like, because I split obviously you can't get GPS or anything, but I use a stopwatch when I'm going round. So even though I count it, I can look down and go, no, you definitely have got one more lap to go round. Maybe you just know where you are. So I checked as I came into the row, and I knew that I should be there. And then I just thought, is my watch right? And I was, honestly, I spent 500 meters waiting for someone to tap me on the shoulder and tell me that my race was over.
The only reason I could think, I mean, to say you're an elite athlete, you shouldn't fuck up a lap. I mean, that's, to me, like, that logic doesn't make sense. Like, mistakes happen. Professional athletes make mistakes all the time. That's why it's called a mistake. The only reason I could think, if I was going to guess, is it messes up the coverage, because they're like, well, Kate's in 2nd, but we all know she's got a minute penalty coming. Like, maybe that. Again, I mean,
maybe for the viewing, actually, yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, for that, maybe. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I can't see why that's, if they're maybe they're going to keep that, or they're really, I don't feel like there should be different rules for the race. I can see them doing the grid versus not grid, right, for cameras. But other than that, the whole point is that this is the same race every time. So that's a weird one to me. But yeah, you'll fucking make sure you get the right amount of laps. That's for sure. I mean, Viola left the ski erg early. You know what I mean? Like she pulled it and didn't wait the extra half second. And, you know, so it's like she be DQ'd for that. Like that's a little silly to me. But anyhow, yeah, I can't even remember now. It seems like it was a year ago, but it was but days. Let's pull up some splits and whatnot. Let's go over here to I love this high result site. I give them shout outs every time. They are not paying me to advertise for them, but they have a really cool site. But it's still the best way to still track the race during or after is to be on HYROX and use that live feed.
Oh yeah.
To see to see when you come in and you come out. So let's do a little screen share magic. Let's go to HYROX. Present. All righty, here we are. The magic of screen share. Okay. You're an elite person. You're a woman. And we'll go to current live. God, why does this take so long? Okay. Wrong one. Come on, dang it. Okay. So, where are you?
What do you mean?
You were not on the first 10 people on the ski erg.
Really? I thought I was 9th or 10th in.
It says you were not. You were 9th out.
Okay.
So yeah, you weren't in any hurry. You're letting those girls do their thing, right?
So that first kilometer I'm not necessarily the speediest on my first K, but I like to keep just contact with the group. I know where my strengths are, and blowing myself up way too much right before the ski never works well for me. So I try and just keep contact, get my head down, get sort of a okay ski for me. It's not one of my strongest. It's not like my weakest area, but we just make do. I know that I can probably maintain slightly quicker runs through the rest of the race. So that's what I sort of tend to do, really. So I was actually quite happy with my ski.
And then you are 8th into the push. You're about 45 seconds off the lead. And then only 20 seconds off. Is that right? Yeah, only 20 seconds off on the out. So you made up some time there, yeah? Or no? Yes.
Yeah, I had a good push.
Let's go through the pull and then we'll talk about push and pull. Yeah, you're hanging out 5th, 6th there for the push and the pull. Did it feel like it was like everything flowing properly?
Yes, I have. So I work with Anthony and Lauren now. And
the hybrid engine. I'm usually wearing a hybrid engine shirt. I'm not right now. Welcome aboard, Kate. Welcome to the hybrid engine.
Yeah, I've been working with them for probably about 8 weeks before Worlds. I switched it up. Went mainly Anthony does my stuff, Lauren does a little bit, and we had discussed obviously my race.
Who is it before? Your husband?
No, it was Paul Gillingham. So no, my husband doesn't do my coaching. I don't know if that would end well. I'm quite feisty, I'm not sure. And so yeah, we had spoken through everything, the paces to try and hit, the times that I should be trying to pull each length on, how I was going to break it down. and it had gone to plan. So everything that I'd spoken to Anthony about, I was running through my head with all of the things that he'd told me whilst I was racing. And at that point, I was hitting what we had discussed.
Is he also yelling at you during though?
He does. No, he encourages on the way round.
No, that's what I mean. Yelling, like encouraging. Yeah, not in a bad way.
Yeah.
So yeah, you come into the burpees 6th. You come out of the burpees 2nd. Hang on.
I do love a burpee.
You clearly love a burpee. And it looks like, hang on, is this right? Yeah, everybody else's burpees are just much worse than yours because you went, yeah, you still are, you're still, the whole pack is further behind her than they were before, but you leapfrogged everybody, no pun intended. And is that what normally happens to you in a race?
Burpees, I do normally get a few places back. I think in Cologne, I went from something like 10th to 2nd or 1st. It was something quite... So burpee is my area where I know I can push. So that's why I say at the beginning of the race, I just try and stay in contact. I try and have a good push and pull to keep me there. Then I can do my burpee thing. And then it's about hanging on, really.
So it seems like that is a great strategy for somebody if you just really work on that back half. Because
so, yeah, I need to work on my lunges and my wall balls. I think there was obviously a lot.
Your what? I'm sorry. Your what?
My wall balls.
I'm sorry. What's that state? Which station is that?
How do you say it?
Listen, wall balls. Listen, you need to know that it's now an international sensation. Okay, between you and our friend at the Erg Army, and hearing you guys say wall balls. Somebody shared the other day on my account. They're like, he said, I'm signed up for a HYROX. I just got to work on my woo bulls. So we've made it a thing. And for everybody that makes fun of me for making fun of you guys, it's just a nice phrase. It's just, we say wall balls. And now I'm saying wall balls. Now it sounds fucking weird. I like your way better. Anyway, go ahead. You got to the woo bulls.
Lunges. I need to work on those. And then the wobbles they were having.
Hang on one second. Let's. I want to remove this because I want to talk about this for a minute. Are you predisposed to burpees? Were you working on them in your young life? Like, why is that? Because I can, like, wall balls make sense. Like, there are people who've done a lot of HYROX that have done it a lot of high repetitions. Burpees, not necessarily. So what do you think makes you outstanding in that department?
I do wonder. I'm probably the shortest girl in Elite 15, maybe.
Okay. Lauren, you shorter than Lauren?
I'm 5, nearly 2, so I'm definitely not one of the tallest. I've got less levers to kick out. So I don't know. I'm closer to the floor. Who knows?
Are you Lauren's height?
I've got quite a good jump as well. For my size, I think I have quite a good jump forward. So I think I've got sort of a bit of explosive power. I've always liked to burpee.
Are you Lauren's height, Lauren Weeks?
Possibly touch shorter, maybe.
Right.
Very similar, I think.
Right. Zara's a giant compared to you.
Yeah, when we have pictures, I do.
It's adorable. It really is adorable. So one would say that that's going to hurt your machine work, right?
And my lunges. I don't.
And your lunges, right? So is there a max on your machines? Is there like, okay, this is just, I can't ever pull faster than X?
I don't think so. My row, I didn't have the best row. I think I was distracted from where I was, if I'm honest. I've never been in that situation where I've sat second on the rower in an elite race next to Meg Jacobi. I was a bit confused whether I was going to get disqualified, what was going on. And then there's that almost imposter syndrome where, should I be here? Am I allowed to be here? Have I pushed too hard? Is this correct? You question everything. And even speaking to Anthony after the race, he sort of said, yeah, that's, you know, it's getting used to, yeah, I do belong there and I have worked hard, and you've worked really hard and you are capable of it. But at the time, you're just thinking, something's definitely not right here. So I think my row wasn't quite where it should have been or where it normally is, because I was just a bit flustered. And then I was fine. Farmers was no problem. I was happy with my farmers carry. Lunges I need to work on. And then when I got to the wall balls, I was, can't say it now without laughing, I was doing okay, and I've worked on them a lot. And then there was a bit of a kerfuffle going on next to me with people going and coming back. And then when everyone had crossed the line, and this is really bad because I shouldn't have done this, I knew how far ahead I was of 7th place, and they had then all crossed, and I should have just pushed, and I think I sort of dropped the ball, just had maybe 10 seconds, breathed, and then went. And I shouldn't have done that. I should have just pushed through, because you never know what penalties someone's going to get.
And it's just a good muscle to build, that no matter what,
Yeah.
I can push through,
and I
no
think
matter what.
At that point, I was elated with where I was. I was so happy with what I had achieved.
Did you know?
And
Were you counting?
I knew
Did you
roughly where I was. I thought I was actually 7th, and then someone told me I was 6th. And then you think, I came into the wall balls, I think fractionally after Lauren, and then I see what she obviously achieved. She's obviously phenomenal. And I'm not saying that I could have got 2nd, but maybe if I'd have pushed a little bit harder, I could have got 5th or 4th. And you think of that now. Last week, I would have snapped your hand off at 6th. And since then, I've been thinking, well, if I'd have pushed harder on, which that's the game though, isn't it? It's, you know, you're happy with where you position, but then you think back to your race and you want more. And that's what makes you keep going back. That's what makes you an athlete. That's what makes you keep driving, keep turning up every morning at 4:30 at the gym.
Well, and if I could make it non-athlete related for people listening, I mean, I think it goes for, if you're an independent contractor and you're trying to give a rate to someone and you charge too little and you're like, I think I'm worth more, or even getting a raise. And then once you get the raise, you're like, fuck yeah, I'm worth it. And like you almost wish you'd asked for it sooner because you just didn't think you had it. And so I think a lot of people can relate to that feeling. And so next time you're there with Megan, it still might be a bit of a shock, but probably a little bit more confidence because you get to grow there. Like that's the room to grow. I mean, that's so great that you're already aware of it, because people don't learn sometimes. People think like, oh, I got a bad break because of this or that. And so it's great to have that awareness and that you and your coach are getting there.
And I know how hard I worked from Cologne to the World Champs. I mean, we all obviously worked hard. Every single thing that Anthony sent, I did. I didn't, not once, even if it was just one 5-minute thing at the end of the day, you don't miss it. Like, and I've always been that way, but there's a lot of volume to the stuff that he sends, which is fantastic. I love that. And it doesn't matter. I will find time every single day to get everything done, because I like to put those little green ticks in the boxes. It's like, I can't not do that. So I had expected to perform better than I had done previously. The lineup was tougher. It's World Champs. You've really had to fight to get there. So I wasn't sure. Anthony and I had discussed. He said, right, what's your goal? And I think I said top 10, and he pulled like a little bit of a face at me. So I thought, oh, that was the wrong answer. And then he said, well, I've crunched some numbers. And he said, it's your goal and you have to decide. But I would say, let's not just go for the top 2/3. Why don't we go for like the top half? So I sort of said, so like 8th. He's like, well, I'll call it 7th. So I was like, oh gosh, okay. And even though I then said, yeah, I want to do that, there was a big part of me that was thinking, wow, like looking at those names, I've got to beat some of like huge names to get in that position. And there was still part of me that thought, oh, I don't know if I can do that. And then when I got sort of halfway through the race, I thought, I can do this. And it was really nice. Like when Anthony and I sat down, and he said, yeah, but you didn't get 7th. He said, you got 6th.
Mm-hmm.
He said, so you did better than what we predicted.
Right.
And, you know, we've crunched numbers and things like that. And I know there's potential to be better, and I know there's potential to do more next season. And I am itching to see what the next 8, 16 weeks, 32 weeks with them will do for me, because I found another level, and I found a different type of fitness, and it feels great. And when I was running my doubles with Zara, I was tapping into a feel that we had discussed on my running, and I tapped into that feel. And it was interesting. When I looked back at my splits, it was 347, 347, 350, 347, 350. I think the last one's like 354 or something, because you have to run into the wall balls. And just to make you laugh. And so they were all, I was just doing it on feel and trying to hit this kind of sweet spot that we've been working so much on. And then when I looked back at that, I thought, wow, okay, they were really controlled, and they felt really good. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, I would imagine so. So, do you want to talk about the doubles race?
Yeah, I loved it. It was amazing. Just teaming up with Zara, we just gel.
Is it hard for you as her mate, like beating each other? I mean, I know you root for each other, but is it hard because you want to look out for the other person's feelings when you're talking about how your singles race went?
Yes and no, but I think we're both very good at that. It's with us, it is literally a toss of the coin half the time. We always say it. She's won some races this season. I've won some races. We're always really happy. And she said something to me after the race.
I think I ranked her slightly higher than you in the rankings, but now I'm going to have to switch it.
So she said something to me at the end of the race. She came over to me and she just said, wow, I heard, like when they were doing the announcement, she said, I heard it when they called you out on second. And she said, even though I was racing, she said, I had the biggest smile on my face. And she said, I was rooting for you so much. And when she said it to me, she really meant it.
I'm not going to cry now.
And when she smashed it out the park in Cologne, I was so proud of her. And some days it's your day, some days it's somebody else's day. And if there's anyone, if she's, I don't mind it. Obviously you always want to win, but when I see her win, it's still really cool. And we both have different strengths. So just some days it's your race and some days it's not quite your race. But teaming up on the doubles was then just amazing 2 days later. So we just work really well together. We almost don't even need to talk. We almost can just know who's doing what. We have a vague plan, and if one of us dives in first because they're feeling good, the other one we know what we're doing. And it's just fun being out there on the track together, pushing each other. So, and then to win, there were 2 girls behind us they were good runners. And I was thinking before we got to the row, I was like, we are not shaking them off. They're not letting up. But I think we took a little bit more of a lead through the row. I think our row was quite a bit stronger than theirs. And then it felt a little bit easier after that. So it was more enjoyable. And yeah, that was a really nice way to finish our last day. And then the relay was just the icing on the cake, really.
Well, before we get to the relay, so yeah, I looked up the Van den Linden loops because I'd never heard of them, and you think I would with that name, but I think one of them is a CrossFitter, right?
They were very good runners, like really strong runners, actually.
Oh, okay.
Sisters.
What's that?
Are they sisters?
I don't know. I looked them up before. Let me look this up really quickly. I clicked this before, and one of them's a runner, and one of them's I can't find it. But they were on the 5th place Belgian team as well in the relay, 2 minutes behind you guys, a little over 2 minutes behind you guys. But yeah, the relay, you guys looked like you were having a good time.
Pressure, but so much fun. It's the craziest race I think I've been involved with. Zara and I were laughing because when the boys were coming in the in arch, they were like cheering and hands up. Zara and I were like deer in the headlights, and we were laughing because we were like this, and the boys were all having a good time with it. So I think the pressure is when you get handed the lead on your leg, you obviously then don't want to let the lead go. I know it's different when there's boys and girls on different legs. So I think I actually had quite a few boys on the burpee leg. They'd given me a really good lead to start me off. And I had the German team, I think the Australian team, and maybe one other team that were all quite close with boys in.
Right.
And we had a bit of a joke in the pen when we were waiting that the boys were saying, I'm taking you down, Kate, in the burpees. And I said, I'm going to get out there first. And I was thinking, oh no. And I only just got out, I think in front of the German team, and managed to get back to tag Sandy. And then obviously he just flew off. And then I went again on the farmers. So I didn't get much rest, but I think it was actually quite good because I think if I'd had too much rest, my legs might have seized up a bit more.
Right. You went into the row ahead of the Germans and the Americans, and then the Germans looks like they passed us, or no, we passed them. Americans passed the Germans by 6 seconds in the on the out. We were battling those Germans, man, the whole time.
Yeah. Well, Meg said that they were the 3 predictions that she had for the podium.
But with America first.
Yeah, I think it's a slightly different order.
Right.
But I think most people did, even myself, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I think it was a disappointing weekend for the Americans. I mean, obviously we swept the podium for the women. That was huge. And if we had gotten at least one man with a decent finish on the men's side, I think it would have been nice. But I think the fact that, I mean, we just, obviously Hunter finishing as low as he did was a surprise. I think everyone had him first or second. And then the rest of the men having a pretty poor showing. And I think the relay was the chance for us to be like, all right, well, let's at least get this. And so it was a rough weekend for the Americans. But I'm sure that everybody, I haven't talked to everybody yet, but everybody's going to learn from it and improve.
The ladies killed it though. So
it's nice. That's nice for sure.
Meg, like Lauren's comeback was just like that grit, that determination is phenomenal. Meg, she just looks so strong and calm out there. Vivian, I love her. She makes me laugh so much.
Me too.
We have such a laugh, and yeah, we had quite a giggle that weekend. And then to see her get her 3rd, that was nice too. So, I mean, the ladies were just rocking it for you.
Yeah, and we're very happy with that. And I think last year we were 3 of the 5, but I don't think we were all 3, right? 2023? I
can't remember. Who was 3rd last year?
Let's look it up. How
it was Lauren, Meg, and then
I'm looking it up right now. How Manchester? Let's look at Manchester. Manchester was Lauren. We were the top 4 in Manchester. Lauren, Meg, Belle, Vivian.
Oh yeah, Belle.
And then Chris was 7th, and Tara was 10th. So yeah, we kind of with the Germans in the middle. Did you make the Elite 50?
Beck Mason was in there, wasn't she, for UK?
Becca was
6th?
No. Yes, 6th. Sorry.
Yeah.
So you were not in the Elite 15 last year.
No.
I would have bet you were if somebody asked me. Like, oh yeah, she's in it.
So I had only done a couple of pro races, and I think I was on the cusp of getting a roll down spot because I'd got the email, but I think I was like 19th or 20th. So I didn't get a roll down. They rolled down maybe 1 or 2 spots. So I did age category pro race last year, and that was my first World Champs. That was my first pro race was I think April last year.
Wow. I knew that Sandy didn't do as well last year. He finished 10th last year in the World Champs.
He smashed it this year. I was so proud of him.
He really smashed it. Really smashed it. I mean, but I didn't think it was that. I mean, that's a pretty big 10th to 2nd is pretty big, especially behind Ronco, who just looked like, pretty unbeatable.
But then if Sandy hadn't have had that penalty on the sled pull.
Right, but the difference, he still won by a lot, though.
Did he?
Alex? Yeah. Hey,
Oh, okay.
Alex won in 56:21, and Sandy was 11 seconds behind. But he also told me how mad he ran because of the penalty, so maybe he wouldn't have gotten as mad.
Yeah, maybe.
So, as I said yesterday, there are 25 races already on the calendar for the rest of the year. We don't know anything about majors, but what is the rest of your year? It's only June. We've got 6 more months of the year to go.
Until they announce majors, how it's going to run, it's really hard to plan because you don't want to go and book a load of things and then they announce majors or qualification races or something like that the week before and you've booked loads of other stuff in. So currently I'm just waiting to see what the system will be, how it's going to run, and then I can plan out what I'm going to do. Because last year, the first half of the season, I raced far too much. And that was purely because I was getting roll down spots into majors. So I was going to maybe a race 2 weeks before that I had planned to try and get a time to get me into the 15. And then 3 days later, I'd get a roll down spot. You're not going to, obviously any chance to race in the Elite 15 is just phenomenal. So I then did Chicago, Stockholm and Vienna. I actually declined Washington because of Cologne. So I knew that Washington, jet lag, travel, taper, feeling rubbish when you come back with jet lag isn't going to be the best prep for Cologne when I could actually just get my head down and work, because I thought coming in the top 3 at Cologne was a more realistic expectation than coming in the top 5 at a major. So that's where I focused. So once they've announced all of that, I can make a plan and hopefully not race like every week as such.
Right, but I think that's taking like a calculated risk like that and then hoping it pays off, and then it did. Same thing happened for Ansha, right? She was like, I'm going to wait. I'm going to go to America because I think that's a better shot for me, and it worked out. And she came in. She came in 4th at Anaheim.
Yeah.
So anything for fun? If I come over for ethics, will I see you there? You can do that one for fun.
Oh, I think I am actually with the same girl, Annabelle, that I did it with last year. But I want to say we might be going back to Birmingham. I think they did one in London, but it was too close to Cologne. I think it was like the week before or something, or
Right.
It might be in the same week. I can't remember. So we didn't do that. So I think we're doing Birmingham. I want to say at the end of August. She would let me know.
Right.
So yeah,
And then
that's a bit fun. And that's to be honest, that's about it. Yes, I know everyone sort of says off season and things, but my body feels good. I was obviously just tired from lack of sleep, but my body feels good. I'm not saying like, oh, I'm going to go crazy or anything, but I want to make some gains. I want to get faster. I want to get stronger, and I want to get to work. So,
did you hear any good rumors about where majors or world champs might be?
well, everyone keeps saying like Singapore or Australia way or that sort of way, because they have.
I don't know why they keep saying Singapore when they literally posted that Singapore is going to have an open. Or no, that was Hong Kong that's going to have an open. What did I say was going to have an open?
Oh, I don't know.
I posted. They didn't. I don't know if they meant to, but it says. Let me go to my own Instagram. Hang on. It says on their site. Yeah, HYROX. Hang on. HYROX. Sorry, Hong Kong. So if they do a major in Hong Kong, right? I don't think they're going to do a major and world champs in that side of the world. I just don't. Because it says Asian championships. And I don't know if they meant to do that, but we know that what Euro champs and North American champs means, right? Yeah. So maybe they just wanted to call it that to get people excited. But I think it's just too far for too many people, that part of the world.
And yeah, it's a long way to travel. And I'm not saying that they can't get into the Elite 15, because anyone can get in. But currently, if you're sort of at the moment, yes, when we go to America, half of us are sort of traveling. If it's Europe, then, you're traveling. But it's making everybody travel quite far. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, Maybe Mauritius.
Maybe Mauritius. All right, let's wrap it up there. Perfect. Where can people follow you, Kate Davey?
Precision Golf Kate always confuses people.
Okay, do we want to work on that?
Well, I work with elite golfers.
All right.
So I work with the British #1 and 2.